Hi, Mike. Hey, can you quiet down? I'm trying to give a presentation. Sorry about that. Those are just some of the noises and sounds that a locomotive makes while it carries freight from, let's say, China into the Belt and Road countries. My name is Adam Buck, and I hope you're doing well and staying safe during these times. This presentation, Sophisticated Solutions for Simple Issues, will explore the relationship between Kazakhstan and China through the relationship they made with the Belt and Road Initiative, and more specifically, the role of the Korgos Dry Port. Since 2013, when the Belt and Road Initiative was launched, the initiative has forever changed the economic and social landscape in the Eastern Hemisphere. Chinese President Xi Jinping had created a vision of a vast network of railways, highways, energy pipelines, and streamlined border crossings, both westward into the former Soviet Republic and southward into Pakistan, India, and the rest of Southeast Asia. This bold vision is bringing change to many countries who have remained economically and financially stagnant since the collapse of the world's one of the world's global superpowers, the Soviet Union. President Xi's vision for the region has brought unprecedented changes to the less fortunate countries. As observed since 2013, some of these changes have brought positive results while others have not. While economic opportunity is good for areas where there is little economic activity, the influence of China arrives as well. And as we have seen recently, the influence of China is not always the best thing. In 2011, the president of Kazakhstan, President Nazarbayev, established the Korgos Eastern Gate Special Economic Zone. This area features a first-class dry port. Later in the presentation, we will explore the role of this first-class dry port. At the Special Economic Zone, there are storage facilities, production facilities, textile manufacturing facilities, and chemical and metal treatment facilities. The Eastern Gate Special Economic Zone features attractive incentives for business and commerce to take place. There are exemptions on import tariffs, land tax, property tax, and value added tax. And these are created to attract business from both Chinese and Kazakh locals. A little bit of information and background information on Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is a landlocked country, therefore it has no coastline on a major body of water. In the United States, we are fortunate enough to lie between the Pacific Ocean on the west coast and the Atlantic Ocean on the east coast. Kazakhstan neighbors China, Russia, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan. The country is just under 4 times the size of Texas, and Kazakhstan's economy is the largest in Central Asia due to the country's vast amount of natural resources such as petroleum, natural gas, coal, iron ore, chrome ore, nickel, cobalt, copper, lead, zinc, gold, and uranium. Oil is a main driver of the Kazakh economy. The climate in Kazakhstan is cold in the winter and hot in the summer, and the population of Kazakhstan is about 19 million people. The location of the Korgos Gateway is in a very inhospitable area. As we know, Kazakhstan has a lot of mountainous terrain, and along with that comes very chilling temperatures. The town of Korgos is the farthest point from water on Earth. This is known as the Eurasian Pole of Inaccessibility. Despite these obstacles, China and Kazakhstan have built a dry dock servicing rail cargo that can be carried across Central Asia and even into Europe. So, you may wonder, what is this sophisticated solution for this simple issue? Well, the Korgos dry port is there for the reason of track gauge. What is track gauge? Well, let's take a look here. Track gauge is the width from one rail to the next rail, and that is what the wheels of a locomotive sit on. That is what guides that locomotive to point A to point B. And the Soviet Union, they use a track gauge of 1,524 millimeters. And this issue dates back to World War II when Nazi Germany was invading the Soviet Union, and so the Soviet Union changed its track gauge to a different gauge from the other countries, so a foreign invader could not use the Soviets' track, thus expelling any possibility of a foreign invader using railways to further take over the country. So now China has had to compensate for this issue as China uses a standard gauge of track of 1,435 millimeters, and this is where the little known town of Korgos comes into play. So at the Korgos dry port, which sits on 320 acres of land, there are 7 gantry cranes. What is a gantry crane? Well, it's a little bigger than a crane you might see going down the road on several wheels to pick up construction items. A gantry crane is very large, has an operator that sits very high up in a small control room, and the gantry crane looks down from above and can pick up many different objects of various weights. And in this case, the gantry crane, each one sits over 2 sets of tracks. So you have a track coming from China, and then right next to that, you have a track that will go into Kazakhstan and into any other Belt and Road country, and even into Europe, depending on where those goods need to go. So that crane will take a car from, take a container from a flat car like this. It'll come down, pick up a container, lift it, and then take it over to the next car and set it down. So essentially, because of this difference in track gauge, there's a need for a multi-million-dollar facility such as this just to pick up containers from one train to the next, because that train can't zoom right across that border because of the difference in track gauge. So that's essentially the role of the Korgos dry port, which works 24/7 to make that transition as smooth as possible, so the transport of goods can be connected to all these different countries. And you may wonder, why can't a truck do this, such as this? Well, that would just take way too long and way too much resources, such as time, energy, and fuel for the truck. Unfortunately, there's no superhighway that connects London to China that you could hop on with a Peterbilt tractor trailer and haul a container. And that's where these railways come into play. They are not extinct yet. Obviously, they've become somewhat obsolete, compared to many, many years ago, where people would hop on from New York and go to Chicago. Now they just hop onto a plane. But there are trains such as this one that are powered diesel and electric, and some are solely electric. And they carry some of the 18,000 containers that can be held at the Korgos dry port at once. And these containers come in a couple different sizes. And in this country, we see several different sizes from in the mid 20-foot range to 53-foot range. You see them on tractor trailers, and they go out of ports even as close as Baltimore, Maryland. But the containers at the Korgos dry port are called TEUs, and that means 20-foot equivalent units, and 2 TEUs, which is a double the size 40-foot container. And that is the main container. Those two are the main container sizes that these trains carry. And a train from Yiwu, China to London can carry 44 containers, while the return train from London to Yiwu can carry 88. It takes 18 days to travel from Yiwu to London, and going from Yiwu to London, and 20 days for the train to come back from London to Yiwu. It would take 40 days for a ship to make that journey. So we're not talking about the 21st century maritime Silk Road. We're talking about the Silk Road economic belt in this case. In 2015, there were, pardon that, I just got a few emails. The Korgos port reached 47,000 TEUs. This number doubled from 2014, and the number of container trains doubled from 2014 to 2015. And in 2019, the port handled 180,000 TEUs. This is essential, as a special economic zone is one of the main arteries for goods traveling from China to Europe. It is expected by the year 2023 that the dry port will handle over 500,000 TEUs in a year. The building of the dry port is also beneficial for Kazakhstan, a country that was once left financially crippled after the collapse of the Soviet Union can now easily trade its natural resources with other countries with ease. In 2016, Kazakhstan exported $1 billion in oil and gas with China, along with $865 million worth of copper, $827 million in chemicals, and $600 million in iron and steel, among other goods and materials. In Kazakhstan, in 2016, they imported $878 million in machinery from China, along with $712 million in electronic equipment, $331 million in iron and steel products, and $122 million in vehicles. This flow of trade allows Kazakhstan to revitalize its economy and economic opportunity for its people. Trade like this was not possible before the Khorgos dry port was created. The connectivity that the Khorgos dry port and special economic zone harbor is unprecedented. Opportunities delivered to people of Kazakhstan, and throughout the reaches of the railways. The operation of the Khorgos Gateway witnesses the spread of trade throughout Central Asia and Europe. China and Kazakhstan envision even greater benefits through economic development one day. It is not clear at this point whether the area will become a global hub or maintain itself as a connection for former Soviet bloc countries to trade with China. Concerns over the investments China is making in Kazakhstan and concerns over the initiative being a backdoor for more sinister geopolitical ambitions are beginning to loom over people who were once convinced of a win-win scenario. As time passes, the containers will continue crossing the Chinese-Kazakh border, and the region awaits the grand promises and visions the People's Republic of China's new Silk Road promises. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you now know about the incredible difference the Khorgos Dry Port makes and its role in the Belt and Road Initiative by being a sophisticated solution to a simple problem and its help in making the Belt and Road Initiative a success. Thank you and take care.